I recently poured myself into the study of the Synoptic Gospels. This included topics of eschatology, Christology, the intertestamental period, Justin Martyr, literary form, the Q source, the two source, the Farrier theory, Griesbach theory, Hellenistics. Are you sinking back into your chair yet, or looking at the clock on your phone? Are you feeling self-conscious that maybe you don't know everything that I'm speaking about? If so, you're not alone. Look around. I promise you, you've got company. In preparation for this message, I took painstaking preparation in generating a catchy introduction, a spiritual, heartfelt conclusion, and then jammed 40 hours of study into 4 minutes to show you how much I've learned. I read it to my wife, and her gift of unfiltered honesty brought me back to a blank page. I had to go back to the Spirit, find my foundation, and express my heart to you. What transpired was a realization of meeting people where they were at, not for academia, but for growing your personal journey with God. At the heart of our belief as Christians lay the beginning of the New Testament, the Gospels, a word that originated from the Greek as good news. The good news is the life, death, resurrection of Jesus, and the Gospels are full of trustworthy accounts that bear witness to Christ's deity, his teachings, and his call for how we live our lives. There are 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And if read like chapters in a book make you think, why did I just read that 4 times in a row? It's a great question, and the answer helps take the books to a new level in your mind. The first 3 are very similar, and the 4th John has a different tone that opens with a poem, passes over the early history of Jesus, and beautifully focuses on the deity of Christ for all of the world. John was written 15 to 25 years after the other Gospels and does not have nearly the striking similarities of the first 3 in style or shared content, excluding it from the Synoptic title. The first 3 are used by theologians or Bible scholars. Despite not being listed chronologically, which is true about most of the Bible, Mark is believed to be the first writer of the Gospel in 58 to 65 AD. One question is, why did it take 30 years after Jesus' death and resurrection for someone to write this down? The answer to that requires studying the times. For starters, all 4 Gospels were written within living memory accounts. That meant the writers were either first-hand eyewitnesses to Jesus' memory or interviewed first-hand accounts. Failing to give high credit to such reliable sources is honestly giving it prejudice. Consider this example. The most trusted biography on Alexander the Great was written 5 centuries after his death. You won't find debate on the contents. Statistically, Jesus is the most and earliest accounted historical figure in history. Mark was the interpreter of Peter and wrote his gospel in Greek. Peter was one of the 12 disciples, was a first-hand witness to nearly all of Jesus' miracles, healings, parables, prophecies, and capture. Imagine a front row seat to an apostle telling us everything we saw about Jesus. What is also important to know is that early history, verbal account memorization was the primary method of teaching. Literacy rate in Jerusalem in 60 AD was 3 to 5%. In addition, you couldn't Google Translate the various languages spoken in such a tight geographical area. It was extremely difficult, and that kept the thing and reached people in methods of priority. Following Mark is Matthew and Luke. Both Gospels appear to be heavily influenced by Mark's Gospel, with Matthew containing 55% common material and Luke containing 43% common material with Mark. Despite the similarities, the purpose and the audience is different. Matthew is written in Hebrew to Jewish Christians so that they may see that Jesus is the fulfillment of their Jewish prophecies in the Old Testament. Luke is written in Greek to Theophilus, meaning friend of God, which is intended for Gentiles or non-Jewish people. As a true research document, because it summarizes Luke 1:4, you need to know what's up. What we do know is Matthew, who is believed by many to be an apostle, would make him a first-hand eyewitness to Jesus, and Luke, who was an educated physician, Christ follower, and associate of the Apostle Paul, spent years researching and interviewing to well-publish his gospel with reliable witness. Both of the Gospels are thought to be written within a couple of years of Mark. The close timeline in which these 3 accounts are, the manner in which they are shared, so much in common materials, brings them together with the Synoptic Gospels title, which in Greek is seen together. But it means so much more than that. It's about the good news itself, the biographical account of the life of Jesus, inspired by the Holy Spirit to showcase that with Jesus' arrival, so was the kingdom of heaven, who healed the sick, turned the historical Jewish viewpoint of the Messiah upside down by being a servant rather than a soldier, who exalted the meek and the poor over the religious elite, who was tortured, hung on a cross to die, buried, and in 3 days, as promised, rose from the dead, not in the form of an earthly body, but as the Holy Son of God, who John 1:1 introduces by stating, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." By having 4 Gospels with their unique and combined recording of eyewitness accounts of Jesus, written with different audiences in mind by different individuals, shows a unified, accurate, forward movement of the good news of Jesus to the world. Cross-referencing these Gospels to each other only strengthens the fact and accounts, but in today's modern information age provides us with nearly 2,000 years of scrutiny, commentary, and research, leading to a unified message of historical accuracy of God, man-made, empowered by the Spirit, offering salvation to believers. I hope the Holy Spirit reaches you through this message and helps further guide you to the riches found in the gospel. I thank you for this time to study and to grow, and I hope you found value in the same.